Well, hey, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Ron, and welcome to the BESThq's Mastermind for Purpose. We're so excited to have everyone here together, joining, sharing our most important asset, and that is our mind. So we have these events in which we can connect and collaborate, and we're here at downtown Portland at the American Bank building. And it is so cool to be able to bring in folks online and viewers from our live stream, as well as having folks here on site. We also are recording this so we can share this for those who not able to make it today. So keeping it accessible and again, opening minds and opportunities for purpose. So we have online Mr. James Autry, our great partner with Serving Our Neighbors. That is our Zoom host. You want to say, hey, James?
Hey, good to have you. I appreciate you being a part of all that we're doing, and it's going to be a good evening. Thanks for coming.
Yes, indeed. So he's at the controls. We're on site here downtown at the American Bank building. And this month, we are going to celebrate, elevate, lift up what is known as the Small Business Utility Advocates, and bringing forward one of the issues that everybody gets to enjoy, and that's rising energy costs. How about that? Everybody gets to pay utility bills. And so we're going to talk about that and maybe find some ways, especially for small businesses, to help deal with those, mitigate those, and move thoughtfully forward together. So James, on the next slide, he's going to share with us the agenda. It's pretty simple tonight. What we'll do is we'll start with a welcome and a why we're doing this. We'll go around introductions to make sure we know who's in the room here on site, but also on the live stream. And then we'll have a brief presentation by our friends from the Small Business Utility Advocates and talking about your energy costs, with it wrapping up with a question, an opportunity for us to help collectively come together. Mastermind provides solutions that can be shared by all, both here today as well as on our YouTube watching later on. With that, I'll tell you that BESThq, if you don't already know, it's a collaborative business community. It's an organ benefit company that works to elevate the quadruple bottom line, our people, profit, planet, purpose, with the opportunity to use enterprise development and this business community as a means of doing that. In particular, we're pretty keen on purpose, as we have demonstrated through elevating some of the other projects annually. You'll see some of those here in just a little bit. So the next slide is going to share that again, the agenda. We're gonna say why we do this is pretty simple, because we all have many assets and opportunities. Some of us are given access to opportunities easier than others, but what we have here with the mastermind is the ability to share in a way that's very easy, and it's very much something that without too much effort we can do to help make a difference. That is masterminding, sharing our minds for the opportunity. So with that, we're going to get to know each other here in the next hour. We're going to dive into this topic and share that asset of ours, that it doesn't cost you anything to take it out of your pocket, right? And you don't have to put down your Visa card or anything to help somebody. We're sharing our mind, and we're going to be helping others along the way. These are our great friends from the Small Business Utility Advocates. We're going to start with introductions. So James, going to roll back one real quick here, and back into the introductions, and go ahead and start online with the guests online, and then we'll go around the room here, making sure we know who you are, what you do, and maybe a favorite purposeful moment of the year 2022.
All right. Well, I'm James Autry with Serving Our Neighbors and one of the strategic partners with BESThq. And glad to be a partner and engaging in amazing projects all around. And we featured many of those. And when we were thinking about our expo this year, it makes sense to stay true in 22, right? And just to continue to be intentional on those aspects of working on things that are purposeful, because then as you do that, the other things just fall in place: the profit, the planet, the people. It's like a four-wheel, vehicle there that you can really do some fun stuff with, rather than just focusing in on one element. So it's a community, and it's all about us working together. Everybody's gifted and has amazing resources and talents and abilities. And if we just come to the table and see what you got, we can see some amazing things happen. So Todd, introduce yourself, sir.
Sure. Thank you, James. Todd Kimball, longtime supporter of BESThq, been with the organization since the very beginning. Now a development director with Biomotum, a robotic company helping people with disabilities with their mobility. Also help out occasionally with SBUA. And it's just a pleasure to be here today. Purposeful moment of 2022. Much of this year has been focused on personal growth versus business, I would say. And my girlfriend has chronic neurological Lyme. So I guess watching her and some other people that take treatments for that disease, it's incredibly painful. And it's given me a view of courage with her and the other people that I've seen.
Todd, you continue to be a beacon of light and inspiration for so many. Thank you so much for joining us. And James, thank you for being online as well. I'm going to start to my right, and then we're going to work around the room. So if you can pass that, Tracy. And to my right is the man behind the camera, the one that makes all the magic happen. My partner, great friend, Luis, take it away.
Hi everyone, Luis with BESThq and Property Builders, helping with technical assistance today. Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking away, but I'm looking at you. So I'm not ignoring you. Yeah, and what was the purposeful moment? I'm gonna have you come back to me on that. I was messing with some settings here, and I'll have to think about that.
All right, we're gonna hold him to it. So he's behind making all the magic happen on the magic box back here. Tracy.
Hi, Tracy Mason. I am the newest member to the BESThq team. As I previously stated, I'm going to my second week, so consider me a veteran now. But purposeful one, I think why we do this is I think that when you come together and share experiences and really lay everything out on the table and have true, honest discussions about what's going on, you can really uncover some great ideas and some collaborative efforts to bring solutions forth. So I love the idea, again, I'm using the term think tank, but I love when people come together with different experiences and different ideas and bring them to the table. So love that. Purposeful projects, besides just what I did in the service organization I was with and deciding to come on with Ron and Luis with BESThq, on a personal level, I'm with an organization that we do a lot for the community, and so was able to help plan and put together a birthday bash for some young kids at the Union Gospel Mission Women and Children's Shelter in Beaverton. We just did that a couple weekends ago, and so that was really lovely to see the kids that really don't have a lot in life get a really great day all for them. And then we followed that up on September 11th with Hugs for Heroes, where our little ones took Hershey's Kisses out to the firefighters and policemen and first responders to thank them for their service on throughout the community, especially on a day like 9/11. So
Outstanding. And we're so excited and fortunate to have Tracy on the team with the new development and communication director, not only for us internally, but externally for sharing with the community. So talk to us if you want to help keep Tracy busy, because there's already a lineup of folks asking for her expertise, and we're excited to share. I'm going to pop back over to Luis here, get his purposeful moment, and then we're going to roll it into our special guest to my left.
So yeah, we actually had a great night on Friday with the kids for our Minecraft event. It's I think the second one that we've done in person now, right? Second or third? Third? Yeah. And it went very well. We're glad to see that kids are still engaged and looking forward to see how we can advance the program. Yeah.
Indeed. Appreciate you, Luis. And that's STEM or STEAM Minecraft night happens monthly. So check the Best HQ calendar. That is actually one of my most favorite times too. As a recovering engineer, I get to play with the kids and play with the blocks, and they're way better than I ever was or will be, but it is fun. Check it out. And it did go pretty flawlessly last Friday, didn't it, Luis? Yeah, good thing he was there because I wouldn't have been able to make that happen. Okay, Diane, take it away.
Minecraft is an amazing
Yeah.
tool, and it was like almost made for COVID, 19 pandemic, because it really saved a lot of kids. Diane Hinkle's here. I'm a lawyer, and my office is based here in the America Bank building. We're thrilled to have everybody here today. And my purposeful moment, it was funny because sometimes I go, oh, what do I choose? But it came right to me, actually. This year, we were able to cross the border to Canada, where my bilingual family goes there every year to spend some time having fun in French. And we were able to take a family that emigrated to the US about 4 or 5 years ago. And this is their first chance to cross the border, to be able to cross the border. And when we got back, we learned that another part of their family got their green cards after waiting for and we'd worked a lot with that after I don't know, it was 2-3 years or more. So it was a cool moment because that just allows some flexibility to be able to, do what have you. So that's what came to my mind.
And Guillermo.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Guillermo. I'm a technical assistant for SBUA, but I'm also still a student at Portland State University. I'm wrapping up my final term this fall, so officially I'm gonna leave the nest and trying to see what I can do outside of school. And I think that would be my purposeful moment, would be taking an opportunity that I wasn't so sure what the details were, but deciding to just jump on it because it's purposeful. It felt purposeful. It felt like it was going to make a difference. And as Ron said earlier, we all pay our utility bills, and that's very much true. And it's very true for small businesses. And it's something that I forget sometimes. And finally being able to be a part of an organization that lets me look at others within my community that aren't, that are given different challenges when it comes to energy usage and resources that are not as readily available to them as the regular utility customer. It's a lot of hard work doing it. So it feels great to be a part of it, though, informing and educating the small business community, and meeting these people face to face has really made me feel way more connected to the community here in Portland. I came here from Milton Free Water about 4 years ago, and my networking since has expanded so much, and I'm very thankful. So like I said, it feels like it's definitely we're making a difference here when it comes to advocating for small businesses here in the state of Oregon.
Well, we're excited to have you here, Guillermo and Diane, and we're going to get right back to you here in just a hot minute. And we're going to dive into that masterminding. To set it up, though, I need to give an update on what's happening in the BESThq community. As James mentioned, we're staying true in 22. It's been a heck of a year. So much gratitude to those partners along the way that have continued to journey with us. On the next slide is the partners, the sponsors that help continue to keep this program going. So we're going to be on Business Expo West in particular. There is a very exciting development that is one board review away from finalization. I'll tell you that. We're going to make an announcement next month. It will be related to Business Expo West 2023. And it will be big, and it's going to be super exciting and beneficial for all. This is clearly a case where 1 + 1 = 3. We're one of the ones. There's another one that I'll announce next month, but it will be a huge, huge opportunity for all of us that have stayed the course, stayed true in 2022. And let's say more to come, and now news at 11. And the next slide is just a super quick update on the purposeful projects. This is our cohort we identified early in the year. We've lifted up through Biz Expo West, and then we're given updates in these mastermind events. We're going to hear in just a little bit on small business utility advocates. I'll share last month, had a great time with Verde Builds out at their office in Northeast in the Cully neighborhood. And I'll just tell you, for that organization, 2023 is shaping up to be truly incredible. They're on the verge of exploding with particularly their ductless heat pump program and some solar work that's coming, and look for continued work there. So we're super excited about their success. Next month, our Mastermind for Purpose will visit North Portland. We're going to actually visit the Metro Central Victory Garden site with VetRest. Look for that. Actually, the registrations are open now for that. That coming up, I believe it is October 18th, the third Tuesday. And hopefully you can join us there in North Portland or here on Zoom. And then also Green Seed Apartments. James, do you have an update on the Green Seeds for us? Oh.
Yeah, I believe they are in the process of building another apartment. So I was with Lydia and Bill at their home hosting the Sister Cities program annual social back in August, and they're busy doing some replication. So being able to provide, low income housing to folks that have no energy costs is just amazing. So you got to come see the place on Burnside, and it's open and full, and just people are loving it. They just had to figure out how to cook on the new stove with new pots and pans because they don't conduct heat.
Indeed. So we're excited. We're going to be doing a mastermind out there to help them with their new development, November, December, as well as updates with Nuestro Hogar. We're finalizing the locations for those visits to close out the year. So that's our update on the purposeful projects. The next slide is going to bring us into this wonderful graphic of what we all get the enjoyment of experiencing, is looking at crunching the numbers, looking at the bills, and recognizing unless you live in a different universe, your utility bills have gone up, and they will go up, right? We actually know the way utility rates are managed in Public Utility Commission, and here to help us understand and deal and kind of work through that, Diane and Guillermo are going to give us the small business utility advocates and your utility costs. Take it away.
We are super excited to be here because I have been Guillermo Castillo and I have really enjoyed working together and working with the small businesses across the state of Oregon. And we put together a kind of a PowerPoint to give you some background on this. But what Ron says is correct in that our utility bills, they're going to increase. But here's a couple things. Somebody say, well, of course they always increase, but actually they don't always increase. In fact, within the last 5 years, we had some decrease in some bills. I think it was maybe 5, maybe 7 now. I always have to think of COVID-19 years. But we had, for example, the natural gas bills were decreasing for some. But we are going to see an increase. And the reason we're going to see an increase generally is going to be this. The state of Oregon has adopted a policy to decarbonize our energy supply. In order to do that, it's going to cost money. The route that most of the funding for this is going to take is through our utility rates. So that is why Small Business Utility Advocates is making it our business, as always, to be at the table so that small businesses are not on the menu and that we are assured of paying fair and reasonable rates for that the small business customers are paying fair and reasonable rates. That is what the Oregon Public Utilities Commission is supposed to assure. And they need us at the table, the ratepayers and everybody else. We all need to be at the table to ensure that's what happens. It's a collaborative effort. So as you'll see, Guillermo and I will give some various information about SBUA and how you can, the things you can look at in your power bill to keep a close eye on those costs.
Yeah, so just some background information on us. We are a nonprofit. We advocate for fair electricity rates and terms of service for small businesses. And yeah, we ensure that, as Diane said, small businesses are given a seat at the table. Besides that, we also love to inform our business customers about other opportunities, such as we have the most recent brand new, the Federal Inflation Reduction Act, which has just come out, and we're very excited to see how we can work this angle on a federal level to help small business customers. And yeah, Small Business Utility Advocates. We also have a chapter based in California, and we're growing here in Oregon, as Diane said, with us decarbonizing. It's more now than ever essential to have an SBUA chapter here in the state of Oregon.
That's right. And so we educate not only the small businesses, but we educate government, other stakeholders, residential, the large commercial, the industrial, in the behaviors of the small businesses and how we can both benefit from the opportunities that also come from the states implementing its decarbonization policy. But we also inform, most importantly, probably, is we inform the small business and the PUC on small business and ensure that we're getting fair and reasonable rates for the small businesses. SBUA does have an advisory committee that if you're interested in getting more information, let us know, and you can, our contact information is going to be put in the chat, I think, but you can easily find out how to reach us. But if you're interested in learning more and participating, just get a hold of us. But in the meantime, we're looking here at a map of Oregon, and you're seeing the Energy Trust Service Territory. This map shows, when you see the colored shaded parts of the map, those are the areas that are the served by the investor-owned utilities. And of those utilities, they include Pacific Power, which is the Oregon part of PacifiCorp, and they include Portland General Electric, which is wholly within the state of Oregon. It includes Idaho Power over to the east. It includes Northwest Natural Gas, which serves a lot of Western Oregon. And you have Avista Utilities and Cascade Natural Gas. Now, those colored areas of the state and those utilities, every decision they make that impacts our rates in terms of service has to be approved by the Oregon Public Utilities Commission. We have 3 commissioners, and they are served by a staff of experts. They participate at the table, as do we, in determining and helping make sure the rates are fair. And the Energy Trust also is part of that mix, in that part of your utility bill pays for the Energy Trust. And we're going, let's see, can we get next slide? Do we do that? Or, so, let's see, do we have the, okay. So you can, if you look closely, and if I put my glasses on, you will see in your energy bill, there is going to be a part of the energy bill that says public purpose charge. That amount is the amount that basically funds the activity of the Energy Trust of Oregon. Everybody's been paying it. The question you should ask yourself as a business person is, I've been paying this. Have I been getting anything from it? And if not, you can contact them. The Energy Trust wants to hear from you, and they want to serve the small business customer like all the others who are paying this money in to clean up our Oregon's energy supply and now to decarbonize Oregon's energy supply. So look for that public purpose charge. The other thing to look at in your utility bill is what rate schedule you are. And you will see that where it'll usually say schedule or rate. And if you have any questions on that, you should contact us. But some common rate schedules that we know and work around frequently are PGE, you'll probably see your schedule 32, Northwest Natural, your schedule 03, Pacific Core, you're maybe a schedule 23. These are common, and they're, if you want to know the numbers, the small business utility customers in the energy sector are in energy utilities are by far and away the second most numerous class of customers of all the utility customers. We have residential in the maybe 600,000 to 800,000 per utility. And then we have the small business that's anywhere between maybe 60, 70 and 100,000 customers. So we're at the table for that tranche of customers. The other thing we wanted you to take a look at was, if you look at this, the pie, we'll back up once more. So if you see this pie, there's a couple things we wanted to note about it. Is in the pie, it comes from the Oregon Department of Energy 2018 Biennial Energy Report. Now, the Department of Energy, Oregon Department of Energy, that is coming up with its 2022 report. And you should pay attention to that. These reports have a ton of useful information. But one of the things we wanted to show you is where you can see the energy percentages going and how it breaks out the as far as the activities funded by the public purpose charge. And there's a lot of other information in those reports. So if you click to the next slide, we'll show you another example of a power bill. And this one is the power bill of a Portland General Electric customer. This is a Schedule 32. And you can see, once again, you can see the schedule. It says Schedule 32 in fine print up there in the upper left. And then you also see the public purpose charge, that fine print where you see that yellow arrow on the right side. So that is, again, showing you that every month, every power bill you are paying into the Energy Trust. And it gives you lots of information about your energy usage. And there's going to be more of that as we go along. Do you want to go ahead and move to the next slide? So this slide gives you, I think we'll pass through this because it's a little dated now, but this is the kind of information that you can learn both from the Oregon Department of Energy, the Biennial Energy Report, but it also tells us one thing that is really important. That top line, energy efficiency is usually the cheapest form of energy. Any more than you wouldn't fill a bucket purposely with water that you knew had a hole in it. The concept is maximize the energy efficiency of your building or of your structure or in whatever you have in your business before, or at least alongside, investing in more, additional energy generation like solar panels or whatever. And what we know is with the Inflation Reduction Act, there's a lot of incentives for energy efficiency. So you should really pay attention to it's called sometimes EE, energy efficiency is the cheapest form of energy. And next slide there. So we're
Yeah, I can add on to this part for sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
thanks.
So like Diane mentioned, the Department of Energy is currently working on its next energy report. It's due to be published here in September through November 2022. And as Diane said, these reports, they have a plethora of information about energy usage, energy efficiency, policy briefs. I think if you don't even have to read the full report. You could take a look at just one chapter and go through it, and you learn a lot about the utilities here in the state of Oregon. So I also highly recommend that you take a look at this energy report that is set to be due here in 2022. And as we've been talking about, here's more data on just how useful it can be to go through these reports. It's an energy usage map for commercial buildings here in the state of Oregon. Kind of gives you an idea of what industries use the most energy. And that is very helpful. It's very helpful to know in terms of decarbonization and other renewable opportunities that we can offer these industrial businesses. And we also want to make a note that we participate a lot in these discussions. So with this energy report going on, they always want stakeholder input or recommendations so they can finalize this report. And SBUA has been a part of this process, and as well as others. I just want to throw out the small scale renewable project that the Department of Energy is currently working on. We did offer comment that we recommend that small businesses be given a base grant that is focused on all small businesses. And we're taking, notes from the state of Illinois. They recently passed HB 3624, or the Clean Jobs Acts of 2021. And this is going to provide a lot of, once again, renewable opportunities, make it more affordable. And it's the type of energy that we are looking to have now here in the state of Oregon. So that's just a little bit about the Department of Energy and the involvement that we have been going through in kind of this process to get the accurate numbers and make sure that small businesses are at the table, even in this type of government agency besides the Public Utility Commission.
That's right. That's right. And is there next slide? Yes. So,
yeah, this is a short video here that we have.
Right.
It's just kind of an example to demonstrate the direction that we are going towards here in the future. So just recently, the Boardman coal power plant by, I believe it was Portland General. No, it was Pacific Power.
It's actually, it's often called the PGE coal plant, but it is actually owned by a few different power companies.
Yeah, and before we viewed this video, Diane made a really good comment about just how long it's taken to get to this point of the demolition of this power plant. And the fact that it just happens in mere seconds, it goes to show just how long it has taken and the step that we're taking towards this new green future. So we just wanted to give you a visual representation of where Oregon is going.
So as this video plays, you'll see it's pretty short actually, but this demolition took place in seconds, and it is a decades project. But the thing I want to add is wherever you stand on policy, Oregon is decarbonizing its energy sources. And so we need to make sure that small businesses are treated fairly and reasonably, have opportunity to participate in the economic opportunities that presents. And also we need to inform not only the government, the PUC, Department of Energy, local governments, help inform them on the small business behavior and how small businesses matter to the state. We have seen concretely in our proceedings before the Public Utilities Commission that that confirm that generally across the country, small businesses have been underrepresented generally, period. Not to mention not represented, often bearing the brunt of comparatively higher fuel prices for that reason. And we've made it our business to stand in. So if we want to, we can pass to the next slide, and this there you have it. In 10 seconds. So that happened just last week. And we thought that was a kind of a good video to say, there we are now, moving forward, whether you like it or not. We're decarbonizing Oregon's energy future and present even. And we're moving along. And this slide shows we're going to be there. We are there at the table now. We have various rate cases right now, Northwest Natural, Pacific Power, Pacific Core, DBA Pacific Power, among others that we are working in. And as you can see, there's others at the table too. We have the large commercial and the industrial. They've been there for a long time, as have the residential customers. And then we have others like the more recent low income and environmental justice communities. We're glad to see people, the different parties at the table, and we need to be there too, to work with the Public Utility Commission staff to ensure the rates are fair and reasonable. So let's move forward to the next. This is the masterminding. We're getting into some segue of masterminding here now, right? So the other thing we're doing here in this last couple days of fall is we are just before what's called Oregon's Legislative Committee Days. And Guillermo is going to tell us more about that.
Yeah, as kind of we've been discussing, before the utilities can kind of make any rate changes or other types of regulations, it always has to get approved by the PUC. And the PUC is very neutral when it comes to politics. They're not influenced by politics, but there is avenues of opportunity to go about influencing them through a political avenue, and that is the legislative committee days. I like to think the legislative committee days as kind of a performance review, kind of where committees come together for a very specific week to hear government agencies and get updates about implementations or other just general updates on how their government agency is performing. And right here, as you can see, is kind of like a web page to show you how you can get information about what's going on in these committee days. So right at the bottom is, I kind of circled this Find Your Legislator tool. It's a very simple tool. It's very helpful. You can also use it on your phone device. It does not have to be through a browser. It may look different, but it's the exact same experience of just typing in your address or a zip code. It is preferable to give them, your accurate home address to get those accurate results. But yeah, this gives you information on your legislator when it comes to your representative who serves on House or Senate, and you're able to find information about them at the top of the homepage. It usually has an email or a phone number. I best recommend going and reaching out through email from my experiences. A phone number is definitely a good way to follow up if you are trying to get a specific message across, but email usually works best. And yeah, that is usually provided in a legislator's homepage.
So do you mean like emailing your legislator? Is that what you mean? And this
Yeah.
is how you find your legislator?
Yeah, correct.
Mhm.
So once you find your legislator, it'll give you, their description of goals that they want to achieve for their district or the constituents that they serve and how they want to represent them. And usually the emails for all legislator kind of look the same. So you could just take that email in their homepage and reach out to them through that avenue. And there's other ways too to kind of go on this homepage and get other information, so I circled legislative dates. Those are very important if you kind of want to know what's going on, if there's any meetings that you think are very beneficial for you to hear. And then I also circled that committees tab at the top in case there are committees that you are interested in and hearing more on what topics they're going to cover. But yeah, this is overall legislative days is this week. And a lot is going on this week when it comes to legislative days, as we'll discuss. If I can go on to the next slide here. So this is what a committee agenda looks like. So committees, they populate items as time goes on, as they approach legislative days. And we kind of highlighted this specific committee. This is the Energy and Environment Committee.
It's actually, and what this is this is the House Interim Energy and Environment Committee, I believe. Yes. And they're meeting on this on the 22nd in a few days. So you could actually listen in.
Yeah, and we kind of highlighted what specific components of this meeting would be essential for someone like people like us or nonprofits who look for utilities conversations. So, right, as you can see, Megan Decker, she is the chair for the Public Utility Commissions. It's a very big role to have at the PUC, and she's going to be presenting, giving a PUC update in front of this committee on how the PUC has been handling its handling the process of approving these regulations. And it's also very interesting seeing who serves on this committee as well. You can see that there's a senator named Akasha Lawrence Spence who serves on this committee, and she's actually my representative. And you kind of make connections like this as you research your legislator. You find tidbits about your committee that you probably didn't realize you had more in common than you thought. So this is just something that I've been learning as I've been researching these committees and my legislator in general.
So Guillermo, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to push back here for us to say this is not just for nonprofits. We have an SBUA member that has a natural gas bill of over $1,500 a month. This company is served, it's a cooking, right? It has to do with restaurants, but that business is served by Northwest Natural Gas. And you can see in this yellow circled part of the committee agenda that they're going to be talking about the PUC's update on decarbonization and the natural gas sector. So if you are a business that is served by natural gas, probably in heating or cooking or such, or both, you might be interested in listening to that. But here's what you might really be interested in doing also. You can, first of all, you can watch the meeting, but you can take your legislator, send them a short email and say, hey, I see this committee's talking about decarbonization of the natural gas sector. My gas bill is $1,500 a month, and I want to know whether the Public Utilities Commission is thinking about the small business customers in how it's working through the decarbonization process. And you, my legislator, I want you to ask the question for me, please. And that is something concrete you can do, the short ask. And
yeah, no, exactly.
One example.
One of many examples, and there's a lot of notable committees that you can make those inquiries. Some that I know are the Economic Development and Small Business Committee. The chair is Janelle Bynum. We also have the Business and Labor Committee, Chair Paul Hovey, and Pam Marsh, Representative Pam Marsh. She is the co-chair for the Committee on Environment and Natural Resources, and she's actually going to be hearing about the small scale renewable energy project that the Department of Oregon, the Department of Energy of Oregon here is working on. So, there's a lot of interesting pockets within legislative days to take advantage of.
I want to add that to mention again that this particular week, the Department of Energy is going to be introducing its small scale renewable energy study, and that small businesses had a lot of input in that study, and we look forward to seeing their report and how it comes out, and helping small businesses make the most of the small scale renewable energy projects in the future. So, yeah.
Well, excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for the update. Give a little round of applause here for our friends
Our
from
pleasure.
SBUA. Yes. Thank you so much. That incredible work. We're into that time in the program in which we get to share our minds and actually try to identify some solutions. So lots of amazing information that I believe we'll have this available. We can either drop the presentation in chat, or if you're viewing this after on the YouTube channel, what we can do is just email info@besthq.net. We can get them right over to you. And but for this next period of time, we're going to collaborate. We're going to talk. We're going to discuss virtually on the Zoom in platform, as well as here, about potential solutions and ways we can elevate. So this next period of time will be a discussion and interactive period after getting this wonderful update. Great research, Guillermo.
Thank you.
What's happening out there, and to help bring small businesses forward. So so with that, we're gonna get into this pause period in which we're gonna just chat amongst ourselves. Again, make sure we know everybody, but then also answer a question and try to come up with something that we can report off after a brief break. We'll report back and share that asset of mind, of opportunity together. So exciting time here. Lots happening on the energy front. Great work by the small business utility advocates. What is it? How can the community look at the issues that you've identified here? And what concrete, you talked about concrete steps of reaching out to your legislators, legislative days. What are some other things that we can discuss amongst ourselves here, and then report out to help bring this very important issue? So utility prices we're decarbonizing. Utility prices are definitely being moderated or regulated. Those at the table can make their voice known. Small business utility advocates is doing that for small businesses. What can we do amongst ourselves here to help with that, and help you do your job in representing small businesses?
Well, in addition to just being present and watching this video, or, participating today, which is great, is informing yourself in some way about your own, paying attention to your own energy use. And you can always join SBUA. We'd love for you to join. We love members, of course, right? We all do that. But also,
and the cost to be an SBUA member?
It's tiered. It's free if you're a nonprofit. And if you're a smaller company, it's about $100. And then, but I will tell you,
for the great work you're doing, why not?
Yeah. So, but here's the thing too, is that COVID-19 hit a lot of businesses. So we're not going to turn a business away. If a small business wants to be a member, we won't turn them away, but we do have tiered membership. So I was going to say is to let us know what is the form of energy, whether it's energy efficiency that you've been trying to do but are not able to for whatever reason, whether it's cost, or maybe it's a real estate agent. Maybe your landlord is not allowing you to make improvements, or maybe you want to put on solar and you have, or maybe some other form of renewable energy and you're having a problem doing that. That is helpful for us to know as well, because we can send that along to the entities that can help ameliorate, or change that condition. So those are very helpful things to do.
So maybe the call to action here is for us just to talk amongst ourselves and maybe identify others that might be wanting to be part of the small business utility advocates, right?
Definitely spread the word.
and signing up. So we can have a little
Mhm.
breakout session here. We'll talk amongst
Mhm.
ourselves online, in here,
Mm.
and then report it. Maybe it's a larger organization that has a lot of small businesses working for them or with them,
Yep.
that wants to be part of the team, right? But
Mhm.
maybe it's somebody who's also has a $1,500 a month. I remember when in our prior
Yeah.
facility,
Yeah.
we were well over 500, just a small
Yep.
7,000 square foot office.
Yep.
And so maybe that's the action we can do for you today, right? Maybe identify a few potential good folks or organizations that want to get connected or should be connected.
Yeah,
to
if you can
this
think of those who you think are not just the usual suspects, but those, and we're across the state.
Okay.
We collaborate some with Jackson County Fuel Committee and just being able to see, because a lot of communities were impacted, for example, by wildfires and other, disasters that have really, or emergency preparedness. So energy is not only decarbonization, but it's also impacting a lot of other parts of our lives. But across the state, it's a part of our, our livelihood depends on energy and also water. Stay tuned for water. That's in the next year or two. But so reaching out across the state, if you know an organization or a business that, especially if their energy usage is something that they've been remarking on to you, turn them on to us,
Okay.
connect us.
So let's do that. This next breakout session, we're going to take a little pause here from the program because we're going to talk amongst ourselves. Top three organizations or individuals that really need to know about the great work of the small business utility advocates, the decarbonization that's coming, or maybe that can be an advocate for the advocates, maybe a supporter on the way. So sound good? Sound good? Let's give ourselves a little bit of time. We're going to report back as the clock shows here at, we'll say 5:30.
Mhm.
And let's hear about those top three for the groups. Maybe a little energy amongst the discussion, and then we'll hear from them, and then we're gonna wrap it for the evening. Okay,
Sounds great.
sound good.
Thanks.
All right, thank you so much. We'll be back at 5:30.
So my question is, with, obviously with the COVID pandemic and everything, we saw this working from home, we saw this remote work and everything, and obviously that has not come back 100%. So you then, how does that affect, because you then have a situation where you're still paying for a full use of a facility and you're still paying all this in your, it's hard to get the efficiencies down when, sometimes you can't really. So how is that affecting, and is there any reprieve for organizations when they're going through something like this, where they've lost half their workforce to remote work and things like that?
Well, you're actually, your question is touching on two big things. One is present and future looking. That is, like, what's the workforce look like now for businesses? A lot of folks working either here at home or wherever, literally wherever in the world, right? So, and the second thing is what did happen with our utility rates and costs with those 2 years where we had shutoffs. If you're a restaurant owner, you weren't turning off your fridge, even though the government turned off your restaurant, right? Or, sort of speaking, right? You had to figure it out,
The
right?
only thing not running.
So
is
what
the-
we learned about Oregon, and I want to share this because, and we've shared this in our newsletters. What we learned about Oregon is, unlike our neighboring states, California and Washington, we learned that Oregon really focused a lot on residential customers. And we don't object to that. We noted that they paid special attention, that the state agency staff paid special attention to the low income and the environmental justice communities, the residential folks. That's really important. We don't disagree. But for whatever reason, the state of Oregon, it took a lot of hard work on the part of SBUA, literally almost solo at times, to make sure that the small business customers stayed in the picture with how the PUC handled the COVID-19 costs. Those costs amounted to approximately $70 million to ratepayers across the state. And as they go through the rate cases, they were being assigned largely more on small commercial customers than to other customers. And we advocated differently hard on it, and we're going rate case by rate case on that. So it's good to ask the commission those kind of questions. So what'd you do with the small commercial customer while you were doing all these programs for the residential customers during COVID-19? So that's like a present and a little bit past, but slightly future, because we're our rates right now, or say January 1, 2023, you'll see some of those costs being paid. And but in the present and future, that has to do with what's called load growth. That should impact the amount of load, that is how much power is being used in which places to cover our business needs.
Yeah, certainly the
Does
pandemic.
that answer your
Yes,
question?
thank you very much. Very
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah, certainly pandemic just kind of flipped the equation on lots of different pieces. That's why having the representation there is great. Great question. Thank you,
Yeah.
Tracy. And
Yeah, we've got quite a list of small businesses that were part of the Christian Chamber, both in Oregon and Vancouver. But yeah, it's as far as identifying specific ones, I think I did not reach a lot of huge companies that have big rates, but I'm sure that anybody wants to save any kind of money, whether they've got a small bill or a big bill. But there are lots of large companies in the BESThq community that need to be sitting at the table as well.
So James, I'm going to be straight up here. There's no problem with the large companies being represented either. They are well represented. And here's a little history for you, is they've been represented for 30 years. That's 3 decades. And they do a great job of representing the larger commercial interests. And we don't disagree. The fair and reasonable rates is for all the ratepayers. It's not just the small businesses, but we are making sure that these fair and reasonable rates apply to the small businesses. So just mentioning that, but I was really glad you mentioned the chamber, because the chambers are an area where we've done a lot of research, or a lot of, not research, actually research too, but outreach. And I've been a chamber member of the Greater Newport Chamber of Commerce for over 20 years and presented there on these matters. And we recently presented to the East Portland Chamber of Commerce. And we did have the community chamber support us in the COVID-19. So I'm glad you mentioned another, what they might call specialty chamber. Would you use that term?
Yeah.
To describe the Christian
Yeah,
chamber?
we had a Christian chamber, but there's also a Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. There's an Asian Chamber of Commerce. There's quite a few different ones outside of the Portland Business Alliance, which is the one for downtown Portland, they're catering to lots of small businesses, like the different ethnic groups.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think simply making an outreach by the SBUA to all the chambers.
Mm-hmm.
And just letting them know that, hey, this is important work that's happening. Can they maybe share the message? That's a great list, and I think those lists of the chambers are certainly available. And I believe the Secretary of State's office will also list those. There's also the Nonprofit Association. That might be another good source.
Of Oregon, yeah, they are a great source of support for SBUA.
Yeah, because the
Mhm.
reality is that virtually the majority of the nonprofits in the state are actually small businesses as well.
Mhm.
And that would be, and I know the Nonprofit Association of Oregon
Mhm.
has a list that might be a good one to check out.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the Portland Business Alliance or Portland Business Journal, they publish a book of lists that lists all the chambers of commerce.
I
Take notes.
actually have not heard that.
Yeah.
Portland.
Gotcha.
Oh, I thought you were taking it on your phone or something.
Oh, I was
so
going
that's
to.
why I got that. There you go. I surrender the pen.
There you go.
But that's a good point about the Portland
We're
Business Journal on their list
Getting
of small
some momentum
businesses.
going here.
Yeah,
Todd, I know
yeah.
you've got
Mhm.
you've got lots rattling around up there. What do you think?
Well, I think two things. When you're talking about utility rates, I think it's an issue that a lot of businesses feel like it's just it's a cost that they can't control and it's set by a few people. And the more you can let the businesses know, hey, if we can rally around this issue, we can save you money in this way. The more specific you can be, the more engagement you're going to get from the community. So it's more, rather than talking about bringing businesses to the table, we kind of have to bring the message to the businesses, because businesses are busy with many things. And I don't think control of their utility rates is on the top of their thought list right now. So that's one thing I would say. And then the other thing is that, and Diane and Guillermo do a good job of this, but basically segmenting the issues by industry. So are the issues of the retail industry different from the high-tech industry? And the more that you can get industries rallying around the cause of SBUA and what they can do to help their rates and also help the planet from an energy efficiency perspective, and you take those messages to the different industries, then the more engagement you're going to get from the small business community.
Outstanding. That's what I'm talking about. Mastermind right there. Okay. Thank you for sharing, Todd. Appreciate that.
Sure.
Anybody else? Who's next? Tracy?
Well, I was just going to say, I think sometimes it also comes down to you don't know what you don't know, right? And so I think that there's a component of, and you touched on already, Diane, of educating these businesses on what to look for specifically in their utility, because you get the utility bill, you pay it, you move on. Sometimes you don't know. And so really educating these businesses on what specifically to look for and reminding them that they can speak up. I think that's very important. And I think knowledge is power. And if you can go and say, I need to understand this, or I need to dispute this, or I need to figure out what I can do with this, then you can kind of help. So really just the educating on helping them understand what they should be looking for, and then reminding them that they can push back and have a voice. And yeah, I mean, and things like what you were talking about, Guillermo, like reaching out to legislature and going to, I think that's important for people to understand, because they might not even think of it. And so even just something like a helpful, tip guide or something to just be on hand to be able to help these businesses, I think would be important if they're not ready to reach out or they're not ready to seek out the help. Just having resources for them is always so helpful.
Yeah, I appreciate that too. And it's good to remember too, just about anybody who's public, you can reach out to them, right? And we haven't talked about the government, but like the PUC, they have public meetings. And that's one of our, we will ask members to send public comment. We didn't focus on that this time because we have these legislative committee days. And but yeah, it's really an important participating in the public process is encouraging people to figure out how to do that in a manageable way. Right.
Yeah. And just laying out for them what to look for, I think is just an excellent first step,
And I think it's also worth mentioning about strength in numbers. Something that I was going to mention throughout my legislator outreach was one time we had a meeting with Representative Rob Nose, and we got some small business owners who, shared these concerns, these common interests, and came together into this one space to kind of come together with solidarity as a small business community here in Oregon, and be face to face, well, virtually through Zoom. And a senator can feel that type of impact when it shows that, the small business community, they're feeling their utility rates going up. And, as Diane mentioned, we went to Java Man, a member of our organization here, and, we were having some discussions, and, he was just talking about how he's using the exact same energy that he was last year, but his rates are still going up, and it's like this every year. And it's just finding those types of dialogues that we're having right now when we're just kind of like, yeah, we are noticing that too. and sharing that common interest and taking it up that next level with, your representative.
All right. Well, hey, great information share. How'd we do for you, Diane, tonight?
It's really helpful to learn what you see are the most effective ways, the places to look for example, we got a list of lists, right?
Right.
And also to learn what you find is the most effective, like how to start, because utility discussion is often daunting. Usually it's like you got to start by saying, you got to think of something that is not too much as soon as a business person hears it. And the other thing is that our power bills are often not so much. It's not like they're thousands of dollars. So we forget, although the collective millions of dollars that it results in and how we participate that's what we have to reach out. And it's helpful to get these ideas of how to reach the small business customer on this.
Indeed. Well, we thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming out. I'm glad you're able to join online and here tonight. We can look forward to the continued good work, the discussion, and as well as just the sharing of this. If someone wasn't able to make it today, we're going to have this available on the YouTube channel and give folks a chance to share that wonderful critical information that will help them move forward.
Awesome. We really appreciate sharing and thank you very much. Yep, it's great.
Indeed. Hey, I want to thank our online host there, Mr. James Autry, Executive Director of Serving Our Neighbors. Thank you, James, for doing magic online.
Yeah, shalom. Thank you. It's awesome.
And then to my right here, our tech crew, our mastermind, Luis. Thank you for doing the great work behind the scenes, making us all look really good. And I'll just remind that our next third Tuesday, the mastermind will be in North Portland. It's going to be at St. John's Village. Yeah, and the phone's excited about it too. St. John's Village. We're actually going to be touring, walking through the Metro Central Victory Garden. It's a pretty cool project at the Do Good Multnoma's St. John's Village. So you won't want to miss it. You need to go to Eventbrite though and register, or go to BESThq.net, do the registration so we know who's going to be brought into the facility. We'll look to have the mastermind actually in their community center, walking throughout and seeing the Victory Garden. That is one of the other purposeful projects that we're lifting up, helping to share that good work as well. So again, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We appreciate you and your purposeful work. Go and have a safe and sustainable rest of the day.
Thank you all.
Thank you.